It's the Center Fantasy Football League podcast.
Welcome to football.
Oh, I'm a football player.
Coach, I'd like to tackle him right now. Not yet.
Reviewing all of the league's scores and highlights.
These boys may have lost, but they in no way disgraced themselves. They disgraced me.
I think I made him shit himself.
And previewing the upcoming matchups and scenarios.
Red 7.
I don't know what Red 7 means.
Hot route.
I don't. What is hot route?
Will you just go stand on the other side, please?
Fuck you. Fuck you, little walk-on fuck.
Do you think it's possible that your mom won't love you anymore if she sees how bad you're losing in the game? That's why your guys are out partying, mine are running routes.
And now here's your host,
What an idiot! Oh, what a loser!
David Harbadkin.
Hello and welcome to the Center Fantasy Football Podcast for episode 5. Is that what we're in? Of season 11. Joining me on the program is my opponent in the Watson Bowl this year, Mr. Gazaletsky, coach of the Hackettstown Hacklers, both in fantasy and in real life. Well,
Yes.
Well,
Hello, everyone.
thanks for joining us on this delayed podcast. Unfortunately, Manny's not here, even though I'm playing him this week. Though I'm sure if he wins, he'll be more than happy to be back next week. If he loses, we probably won't see him for a while. Anyway, time to go over last week's games. So let's get started with that. What do we have here? Where shall we start? This should be a relatively quick one. We've had some what do you call it, weeks this year where we've had players join us, which has been fun, and hopefully some more of you want to, if you know, just reach out to me if you want to come on the program. We'll have you on. But in the meantime, nobody this week. Relate, and we're gonna move fast. So, what do you got? What do you want?
Well, let's start off with, let's see here.
We had one really exciting game, which was, I mean, you know, the lightning rods versus the clever name pending. I mean, that's, you know.
Well, you can either start off with that, or let's go to that.
Well, all right. Well, we'll go to the next one that you said after that. Anyway, one of the closest games, certainly. I mean, it's the closest game this year. I don't know if this is the kind of thing you have to look at the record book almost to see what's the closest game of all time. Let's see. The margin of victory, the smallest, obviously, is this. The smallest is yours. You still hold the record.
0.02.
And that was on the stat correction one, if you remember correctly. So we're not there.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. So we're not quite there, but this is quite a close game. Clever name pending pulls it out 119.92 to 119.22. So yeah. He had Jimmy G going on Monday night, getting just enough to get there. Dak Prescott only gets 6.32. Olave only 9.2. DJ Moore, he opened. It's the Thursday night curse again. He opened up the week with
It's real.
40.
I mean, people don't understand that it's a real thing.
I know, the 49. He opens up with DJ Moore, and then only 4.4 for Taylor, 4.8 for Edwards, 15 for Kyle Pitts. He had a good game. 3.9 for Kincaid, and then 8.9. And the New York defense got 17 points. I remember you and I were watching that Thursday night game, watching DJ Moore get all these points, and you were saying to me, how is his projection? It was just like a normal he's like, to have a player to have 49 and to have his projection barely move to a normal score. It was just
It was just over 100.
Yeah.
And his team lived up to billing. The rest of the team managed 50 points.
Yeah, I mean 92.16 was his original projection. Now, granted, I believe he had players on the bench this week. Although, yeah, he had Allen and Walker and Herbert all on a bye. Other than that, he only had 23 points on the bench total, 13.60 from Dillon. Now, obviously, if he would have played Dillon instead of Taylor, I mean, that would have, or Edwards, frankly, I mean, because when the margin's this slow or this small, literally any change will make the difference. But yeah. And then I know that there was questions as to whether or not he was going to go with Zach Wilson or Jimmy Garoppolo, and clearly he made the right call, because if he would have went with Zach Wilson, this is not a win here. But that's 2 Monday night wins for him in a row now. Yeah, so he gets that 24 from Diggs, 9.8 from Ayuk, 5 from Harris, 28 from Brees Hall, who had a good game against Denver, 9 from Ertz, 20 from Nakua, and 10 from Butker, and 0 from his defense. So,
every single time DJ Moore scored, it hurt Clever Name Pending's defense all the way down to 0.
Yeah.
And you still just squeak by.
Yeah. But I mean, to be able to pull that out, like after, there was just really bad performances all around. I mean, each player had about 2 players, maybe 3 for Clever Name Pending that, did okay. But I mean, other than DJ Moore for the lightning rods, I mean, there's like it's all single digits pretty much. There's literally 3 players on his team, and one of them
it's bad when your defense outscores literally every single offensive player.
Yeah, other than including Kyle Pitts, who had a good game.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Well, this is gonna make a difference in the season. I mean, this was an important game for him. Moves him to 2-3, moves both of these teams to 2-3. And keeps the hopes alive, and of course we'll analyze it later on when we look at that when we look at the standings. But yeah, good win, and heartbreaking loss for the Lightning Rods. Anything else?
No, the Lightning Rods losing my rival. Can't say much. I heard that bad.
Yeah. What was the other game that you wanted to go to?
Well, we were going to go to the Dr. Hockey thrashing of Nick Zavera.
Oh, yeah, we could get this one out of the way. 175.74 to 119.16. Yeah, I mean, everything. I mean, so Nick actually got some decent performances from Allen, Pickens, and Waddle all at the top, and then it just falls off a cliff. Pollard only gets to 8.4. 2.3 for Cook, 5.1 for Hurst, and then Boyd with 9.9, and then 18 for the defense. This Pittsburgh defense, let me tell you, having faced them, I could tell you that they've been scoring a decent amount of points this season. But other than that, he barely needed Mahomes. He didn't even, he didn't need, Tyreek Hill with 32.1, 18 for AJ Brown, 19.9 for Jacobs, 21.5 for A-Chain, who's now on IR, 15.2 for Komet, 27.7 from Thielen, who's actually been one of the bigger surprises from that team, and then 12 from the defense. From Folk, and then 5 from the defense. I mean, just so I think, unlike Lightning Rods, which had, 1 or 2 players, I mean, you just have like really high scores, high double-digit scores from everybody down the line on this. I mean, literally everybody has double digits except for the defense on his team. I mean, and that's just a recipe to destroy your opponent. So, I mean, and then the question is, how will the A-Chain, injury hurt him? I mean, he doesn't really have much of an RB2, but when you're scoring 170 almost every week, I mean, you take away 21 points, that still puts you at 150. So it'll be
an absurd number. Let's look at Mahomes' performance. Actually, Mahomes this season hasn't needed to be good.
No, I mean,
he's rather average.
Yeah, he had the 31-point game against Chicago, but other than that, 23, 25, 15, 23, 19. I mean, the fact that hockey, I mean, if Mahomes was having Mahomes-like games with he would be setting the record for all-time points if he did.
Easily.
So, I mean, and then we'll see if that's available, to him later on down the road, whether or not he'll be getting those points. I mean, he's in a good position, and like the last time that we said that, oh, hockey's like this good, the next week he had a dud. But ever since that one, that one dud, he's been lights out. Especially since he's had A-Chain, but I don't think. Is there anything on the bench? I mean, 20 for Stafford, who I think was dropped, by the way, and then all single digits here. So, One of these guys is going to have to fill in.
Well, here's the thing about Dr. Huck is as long as that starting lineup, the nucleus stays together, because this bench area with Gainwell being plugged in as your running back, or
Hubbard.
He finally dropped Love.
Did he finally drop Love? I didn't even see.
Yeah, peddle him to the rest of the league.
And surprisingly, nobody picked it up. I'm surprised that the raccoon did not pick him up. Oh, is that what that? That's what that.
All those symbols are. Yep.
True love, is that what? I was in the middle of free love. Now I get. I'm gonna laugh. I didn't really understand what it was when I was in the middle of work today, but now I get it. All right.
Michael Wilson, the Arizona receiver, who had a decent game, but then he didn't really do anything. He's got Hubbard right now, and I think Miles Sanders is injured.
Yeah, but I mean, isn't this with Miles Sanders injured?
Oh, maybe.
I mean,
yeah, that's so. I mean, if there's any injuries, the depth is just questionable. But when you're, like you said, you're churning out 170.
Yeah.
But as you start to poke holes into those players, I mean,
then you get down to 130.
But hopefully, if hockey stays healthy, it's a runaway.
Right.
He has like 760 points to everybody else's like 500.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he's a points juggernaut. He could. I mean, he just has to get basically to 8 wins. Right, with his staggering point total, he's making the playoffs.
Yeah, and then and he's just got to remain healthy. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. I don't know.
He's struck gold so far, so there's no reason to question the man.
Yep. All right, let's go on to the next game, which will be which one?
We'll save Whalers. Let's go to Tilletree versus Hackettstown's finest as he knocks the unbeaten Tilletree off the.
This doesn't encourage people to come on the podcast if you're going to come on and then lose right afterwards. This is the new Spiderweb game, the Spiderweb rebooted. As we all know that Tilletree used to be the Spiderweb, and this time
and this time he doesn't dominate; he sneaks past him.
Yes. Well, I mean, 124 projection falling down to 93.46, and then Manny just making his projection. I mean, this is exactly what Tillett used to do to the league, last year. I mean, or was it last year when it was the Spiderweb game?
Spiderweb, yeah.
Yeah, so 16.16 for Stroud, 5.8 for Jefferson. Now that injury is going to hurt him a lot. I know he's looking around. In fact, I actually have wide receivers, but I just don't have any room for anybody at this point. I mean, I'm not opposed to trading with him. I just don't. I mean, I don't know.
He's a tough cookie to trade with.
I know he is, but I mean, like, in all honesty, it's not like I'd be trying to rip him off. I tend to avoid trades anyway. I don't like them, but I've made a few, but and I actually was offered that one by Whalers and probably should have taken it. Although, who knows? You have to analyze all this stuff over a longer period of time. But anyway, Pittman 10.2, 11.8 from Bijan Robinson, 5.1 from Cook, 19.7 from LaPortia, who's been pretty good all season long, 7.7 from Kyron Williams, and 1 from Prater, and 16 from the San Francisco defense. For Manny, 12.74 for Dobbs. I mean, he's, maybe he needs some love. 14.4 for Kirk, 17.6 from Reynolds, who that's got to sting for you.
That's unfortunate. But we lost by over 100 points. It wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah. DeAndre Swift with 16.8. McLaughlin was 17.9, and then 5.8 for Ferguson, 1.4 from Dobbs, 2 and 11 respectively for the kicker and the Miami defense. And then, of course, Gabriel Davis on his bench just continues to rack up points. I mean, this guy, so after the first week where we kind of made fun of it and he took advantage of it, after that, it's been 21, 10, 15, 22. I mean, he is, this was certainly one that I was very wrong on and he was very right about. But but as right as he was, he hasn't played him. I'm sure he'll play him this week, especially if he's against me. But, And then Purdy with 34.08 points, which is one of the higher scores that he's had all season long. And Burrow, he's carrying 3 quarterbacks at this point. My God. 29.38 for Burrow, who finally played well. 10 for, I mean, his whole bench. I mean, Myers, 20.
The bench outscored the starters
by a lot. I mean, whereas what do you call it? Tiller left, he had the whole thing out there, 10 points on the bench. He's been suffering from injuries. I mean, he's still a good I mean, first of all, he's 3-1. It knocks him down in terms of
he's 4-1.
Excuse me, 4-1.
Don't cheat me.
I never know what week we're in, so whatever. Yeah, so 5-1, 4-1. Now I give him an extra one.
This league's a powder keg. Just one wrong statement lights the match.
Exactly. Well, I just gave him an extra one. Who's he playing this week? The opponent's going to be really angry. So I mean, he's putting it all out there. I mean, we'll have to analyze like what's with Jefferson gone, what that looks like for the rest of the thing. But
clearly that was the key because Jefferson's going to rack up more than 5.
Of course,
that was the victory right there. Once he went down,
of course. I mean, and especially if he's in there mid game, because like that's the thing. So like this upcoming week, he can at least prepare for another receiver to take the place of Jefferson. Whereas
I'm surprised. We'll get into a little bit later that he wasn't in. He doesn't really do a lot of free agency stuff, but he wasn't in the bidding for Osborne.
I don't know. I mean, maybe, yeah, I don't know. But I mean, losing. I mean, here's the thing. So, like, if you, like this upcoming week, he has to plan to play without Jefferson, and he'll find somebody else that'll replace him. But like when you lose a superstar like that mid game, I mean, that just really, that's the kind of stuff that you can't. It's very hard to recover from, which is exactly what happened here. So that's the difference in the game. I mean, like, there was nobody there to replace him on the team at that point. But we'll look at what he's done in free agency and everything, and then see what he could plug and play in there. In the meantime, Friedman goes to 4-1 matches. Still up there at the top, and continues to get the benefit of a good schedule. All right, so I don't know. There's only 2 games left. Is that? Oh no, there's 3. We have Whalers versus Nick and Jamie. Let's go there. Whalers has quietly been doing really well lately. 132. Excuse me, 3 to move to 3-2. He wins 137.42 to 122.82. Hurts
fight 52 from Chase. Ouch.
Yeah, I know. 50.
This is another one of those scores with 49 and 52, and these teams lose.
I know.
These guys don't have the benefit of. I don't know what they do when it comes time to the inactives, but they repeatedly play players that are out.
Well, Sanders was not
this season.
Well, Sanders wasn't out. Aaron Jones, I guess he was. I don't know, but Tua gets 20.92, 50.
He was, and the problem was I was curious to see what they were going to do. They waited until Monday night because he was questionable, and then when they declared him out, now you're fooked.
Yeah,
there's literally no, but they didn't have AJ Dillon.
Yeah, those are always the tough ones. I mean, like, yeah. But then that's why, but I don't know. Like
on Monday night, you're totally fucked unless they put in.
Charbonnet is on the.
They don't have anybody to put in.
I mean, Sermon, he's not even. There's literally. I mean, like, because
literally nothing.
Because really, what you have to do in that circumstances, but they don't even have the personnel to do it. Is normally you would just put, the 2 running backs in this spot, and then put Aaron Jones in the flex, and then have somebody else as a reserve just in case. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so he gets double digits from more players than Lightning Rods did, but 20.92 from Tua, and then the 52 from Chase. Brown gets 16.1 and then 22 from Kelsey. But other than that, yeah, just nothing's around the board. Whereas the Whalers, 29 from Hurts. And by the way, let's not forget about the fact that he also had Justin Fields on the bench in this game, and 33.5 from Moss. Speaking about running backs, Goddard gets 25.7. I mean, so I was on. I mean, we meant. I mentioned this certainly in the thing, but I was offered Justin Fields and Goddard in the in a trade for Hawkinson. which that would have been, I mean, like for this week, my God, add, I think, I don't know, we could look at what Hawkinson got, but like, what is that, 65, 66, points like that. I mean, that's it's more than some teams get, and he leaves it on the bench, but still manages to get the win. Ridley gets 20, 11.5 from Deebo Samuel, 13.4 for Mixon, 36.4 for Etienne. If you recall, I did say that I thought that Jacksonville was going to have a good game against Buffalo in London because Jacksonville had been sitting there the entire week. Buffalo was coming across. I know I got questioned on that, and I just want to say I was correct about that. So that means nothing, but I know. And then Pacheco gets 13.4. Yeah. Oh, and 0 from the New England defense. So, I mean, he's got a good team. He's got depth. He always has depth. He's made some trades, but I don't think a lot of this is from trades. I just, a lot of the garbage that he's picked up this year has been good garbage. He doesn't even need to, I mean, I know he's still trying to ship it off, but he doesn't even need to for some of it.
The Moss pickup is good, but that's going to be eaten into because Jonathan Taylor's now been reactivated. So
correct.
I'm assuming that's going to change.
Yeah.
And then Fields,
I mean, he played Washington.
You should have taken that trade. That would have been good. But you're so worried about getting shafted every 5 seconds.
Yeah, and then also any trade that I make is always like, I mean, well, the interesting, I mean, anybody can like do things in this league, but it's like when I do it, we've said this, I'm a lightning rod for a lot of this stuff, and I just don't have room. This is the main reason why I didn't do the trade is because I just don't have room on my roster. You can't offer me a 2-for-1. Like, I mean, I guess I could have included.
I would have been a good 2-for-1. Was it 2-for-2 he offered you, or was it just for Hawkinson?
It was Goddard and Fields for Hawkinson. I don't have enough room on my bench. Now, granted, I could drop somebody. I mean, I just anytime I'm offered 2-for-1, it just leaves a sour taste in my mouth because I just feel like you're trying to. I just don't like it. It just doesn't, sit well with me. This is advice if you ever want to make a trade with me. Do a 2-for-2 or 1-for-1 or whatever. I just feel like one of them is like a subpar player or whatever else. I mean, Goddard is actually, I mean, that's not a bad trade.
Where's Dr. Hockey, trade expert, to beat you down?
I mean, it's not like Goddard has done anything there. I mean, he has a good schedule. He's playing the Jets in Miami, and then, whatever. And Hawkinson, by the way, we'll see his numbers increase now that Jefferson is gone, and he's been fine most of the season. And as far as the quarterback play, I look, I don't think. I understand that Whalers wants to pick up players out of the trash can and then move them and everything else, but I just don't, like you want to hold on to extra quarterbacks and have like 30, bench roster spots. I mean, okay, there are enough quarterbacks that have decent matchups because it's all about touchdowns. Like if your quarterback throws 3 touchdowns in a week, and if they're playing a terrible team, they can get you points. So. Yeah, I mean, obviously 40 is nice, but he's not going to be playing Washington every week. So, and Justin Fields also, by the way, yeah, he's been good the last few weeks, but I mean, 16, 16, 12, and then he had 2 really good weeks playing Denver and Washington. And he might have a good week this week, by the way, playing Minnesota, but then, I mean, he doesn't have that difficult a schedule, but I don't know. We'll see how long this lasts. I mean, like, it's one of those things where this trade, like the fact that I didn't take it, looks terrible this week, but we'll see how it looks in the future. I mean, I don't think that I certainly don't think there was a Shafto trade or anything else like that. I think it was actually quite a fair one, and if anything, overly fair to me. But it's just not, Plus, like I said, this is the trade. I've made trades with Whalers before, and we have worked things out. But every time we're always disappointed, and we want to like go back. Like we did a deal for Kittle a couple years ago, and McCaffrey. We just feel dirty after we do a trade. So I don't know. It is what it is. All right, then we can move on to my team versus Gronky Con. So this game really came down to Richardson getting injured in the middle of the game. Another one of those things where it happens. Look, the New Orleans defense really did a solid for me in this one. My kicker woes. I mean, it's not really that much of a woe, but I mean, 6 points. And then only 6.9 from Nico Collins. I knew it was a difficult matchup playing Atlanta this week. And then McLaurin was really the disappointment in that game. I mean, Howell, who I picked up just for that week because he was playing the Bears, he gets 29.42 points, which it's the combo of the two of them. Is fine. Michael Thomas was, it was a tougher week for McCaffrey in that he's playing Dallas. And they got taken out for because they were blowing him out. Mostert still gets 15.8. Hawkinson with 10. I mean, it was a solid performance. Nothing special to write home about. But Gronky Kong really, I still was worried, by the way, because we're going into a Monday night. We were trailing. We had we were leading. We had a 39.5 point lead. And Devontae Adams has gotten more than that in a game this season. I think the second game of the season, he got or third game of the season against Pittsburgh, he got 42 points. So it was possible that he could have beaten me with just Devontae Adams. And any time that I go into a Monday night game at this point, I'm like, it's just nerve-wracking. But thankfully
What has CD Lamb done this season? Because he looks on paper like he has a very powerful receiving core, but the Lamb contributions have not been there.
I mean, 11, 25, 10, 14, and then this last one is 8.9. I don't know. 9 from Pierce. I mean,
I don't know what he might have made some moves, obviously, but
I mean, I was really actually Cup worried me in this game because I saw that first drive and it was like they were throwing to him constantly, and I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be a nightmare. So for him to only finish with 19.8 was lucky. And David Montgomery with 20.9. I think he got a touchdown at the end of the game. I don't know. It was quite frustrating. So yeah, I mean, but like I said, Richardson going down mid-game with the injury was really tough, and then the defense bailed me out. As far as bench blunders, nothing on his end, and then on my end, a lot of these guys were picked up mid-game. They were flyers. They were never really going to play. So that's it for that game. All right, which moves us on to the game versus the fan, even though I don't know how much of a fan he's been this year. He's certainly not been much of a player this year, as he's 1-4.
Already the barbs come out.
I mean,
back and just look. He was looking at his chops, waiting for this one.
I mean,
the fan is down, and he's gonna kick him.
Well, when the fan is up, he's we all know about how he could be, which is why you got to keep if you're gonna have the mouth, you got to back it up. I mean. By the way, not a good week for him. Loses to the Hagglers in 2 different forms of football this week.
Yeah.
Though the other form, he actually finished this game out.
Well, the computer finished it out.
Well, yes. The first one in the once again he runs up the score and onside kicks it when he has a lead in the playoffs against his opponents, but when he's down in the semifinals of Madden, he just walks away. So I don't know. Any comment on that?
No, just good game to my opponent.
Yeah, I'm sure that he's eliminated at this point. You could all right. I mean, there's nobody else that I would do that to, but I understand. So as far as this game goes, he was very Baltimore heavy, I recall. And so
yeah, a lot of Baltimore players. Zay Flowers is somebody I targeted in the auction, didn't get him, but he's been okay. I don't know what's Baltimore's problem right now. They're definitely not a high-powered offense.
Yeah, especially against Pittsburgh, you would that's actually on paper that's a good play to make.
Yeah, Pittsburgh's one of the weaker teams, but again, they play them twice a year. You got to watch these division games.
Yeah, that's true too. I mean, but yeah, so he had Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews got 12.5, which, I mean, you kind of want more out of him. Elliott remains one of his better players as the kickers, 10.6, 11.6 for Watson, but Wilson only gets 8.4 against the Denver team. I mean, Madison with 12. 12.6. Ramondre continues to be terrible. I don't know, not much there. And then, on your team, go for it.
Jared, again, that's why we shipped out Herbert. Goff is continuing to get his numbers. I mean, that's better than average. What do you want from your quarterback? Mid-20s, low-20s. That's about all you can. You're picking up Howell out of the garbage. You got 29, right?
No, which is a great score for him. I mean, I'm getting much less than that. Like with my regular quarterbacks, this is a great score. 30. I think there's been no problem with your quarterback play. You had two.
And that's without Mumra. Mumra was injured, so that's his favorite guy. So shipping him off is fine. Henry was a little bit disappointing. He did throw a pass to DeAndre Hopkins, and his foot was just out of bounds. Otherwise, it would have been my running back throwing it to my receiver. I could have given a little bit back to Dr. Hockey, but of course it was incomplete, so I couldn't say anything. DeAndre Hopkins finally showed up. He's playing in London. I got a lot of people playing in London. It's going to be risky. Wandale, it doesn't matter. I mean, this guy, the Giants are just terrible, dude. They're so terrible. It's a shootout against Miami, and the only guy to get injured was Wandale.
Yeah, but even when he got injured, I mean, he was having a terrible game before he got it. It was like the late in the fourth quarter in garbage time that he got in. Like he was terrible.
11 plus minutes of garbage time, and he got nothing.
Yeah.
Kamara's back. That's the kind of performance we were looking at him. Henry, in that game, Tannehill was just terrible. It's tough playing Titans. And then Kittle, I mean, 3 catches for 3 touchdowns. I mean, that's not going to happen every time. That was a nice treat at the end. I'm sure the fan was not enjoying that if he even watched the game. And then Connor with the injury, that sucked because he had a big 35-yard run, and then all of a sudden he didn't show up again for the rest of the game. And I'm like, what the hell? And then he was declared questionable, and now he's on IR. Great. Tucker has been look at Tucker's numbers this season. I mean, you go with the superstar kickers, but he's been atrocious. I mean, 3, 4, 6, and 5. I mean, with the new kicking system, he should be way, way up there. Like, he should win me games. He's been horrendous. And Baltimore's really struggled this year. I mean, either they get in the end zone or they get nothing.
Yeah.
Which is bad for a kicker.
Trust me, that's exactly what happened to my kicker.
And then Houston defense, we took a flyer on, and it turns out they're not that good. So, that's pretty much it.
Anything going on the bench?
Nothing going on. I mean, Waller finally showed. Fuck that guy.
He had
drops everything, and then you put him on the bench, and then all of a sudden he gets 16. Whatever.
Yeah.
And he's got Addison. I mean, with Justin Jefferson out, that might be somebody you finally might want to get into the lineup.
Yeah, he did drop also, but yeah, I don't know.
You definitely got to do something about Stevenson, and the Patriots' offense is huge.
Oh yeah.
I mean, with the combination of Baltimore's offense struggling and Patriot players, it could be a while before Eugene racks up a dub.
Yep. Well, all right. Well, that does it for the first half of the show. We're going to take a quick break. On the other side, we'll go look at this upcoming week and where we are in the standings. So stay tuned. We'll be right back right after this.
Mm-hmm.
All right, welcome back to the show. Well, let's start out this half by doing the same thing that we do all the time when we start out the second half, which is looking at these transactions, of which you certainly played a part this week. Another week, another gazillion-dollar man, right? So
I think we have the highest, second highest paid player. Second highest paid squandered resources.
Well, so where is it even? So 120. Well, so yes, the next lowest bid was 25, going for KJ Osborne. So you mentioned that.
I approached this as not like a KJ Osborne. I approached it as people were bidding on a potential Justin Jefferson, right? So you figure that it might go high, but boy, was I wrong. Nobody cared.
I mean, that's the thing. You never know what this league is. You know,
I don't. I really don't.
No, you can't get a read at all. Meanwhile, the running back that replaced your running back, he went for 41. People love running backs in this league. Clearly, I think that's where the money is. I mean, KJ Osborne. I mean, has he really done that much anyway?
Well, KJ Osborne, I was saying this before. Every time he's played, Jefferson has played.
Right.
I don't think there's really ever been a time where he's played by himself.
So, but all right, but I mean, this is the same kind of thing that we ended up, happening with A Chain in that. So you could see that when A Chain played in that game, I mean, obviously it was a garbage defense, but you saw that he was fast. I mean, like at least hockey saw this, and that he was quite a skilled player. Do you see that? Like, have you watched enough of Osborne? Like, because you can't necessarily just plug and play. Like you couldn't just say like Jerry Rice went down. All right, we'll just put the next jabroni in, and then he's gonna get Jerry Rice numbers. You don't know. So like,
well, I was looking at it from the opposite. So when was the last time Justin Jefferson missed a game? It's been a while, right?
Yeah.
So you're either quadruple covering Jefferson, which finally leaves Osborne open to, if he does anything, it's because of that, right?
Sure.
Or like just has a decent game, which is few and far between. Justin Jefferson is the heavily targeted player. He's the favorite player for Kirk Cousins. I don't remember. When was the last time he was out? So that's what I'm rolling the dice on. With no Justin Jefferson in the game at all, does that change anything? That's what I'm going to find out.
Yeah, but is he going to be the guy that's now covered so that he's not, and is he skillful enough to get away?
I think they're going to put their focus on Hawkinson.
Okay. You think that the defenses are?
Defenses will start to try and take away Hawkins.
Interesting.
I mean, it's obvious, in the pecking order.
I guess. I don't know. But the interesting thing, I mean, like if you look back, I mean, so before Justin Jefferson was really even a thing, you had Stephon Diggs there. So it's not like this team has not had successful wide receivers in the past. That role has been filled by some very good players. And that was with Kirk Cousins as well. So I mean, if that's what you're thinking, then that's quite possible. It's I mean, look, I was certainly wrong on A Chain, and after that,
only thing I'm looking at is they said he'll slide into the Jefferson X role.
Mm-hmm.
They'll give him a chance, right?
Yeah, sure.
He'll throw it. He'll get the targets at least for one game,
right?
And that's what that's why I paid the $120. I want to see, like, he'll get his throws. If he drops them all, then obviously there was a waste of money.
Well, I certainly have wasted money this year, so I can't say anything,
Oh yeah. I have no idea how this league's going to go. Like, if I had bet $36 or $26, they would have bet $150.
Yeah. But yeah, but speaking of higher bids and much more contested ones, so DeMarcado, the DeMarcado line was 41. Below that there was 33, 31, 19, 12, 5. So this goes to the finest. So this guy will play against me this week. Not happy about that. Filling in for the James Conner role. So how long is I think I was playing hockey at that time. How long? What's the deal with Connor?
Connor's IR, so he's 4 weeks at least.
All right. What happened?
He hurt his knee. He got a 35-yard gain and came down awkwardly.
Mm-hmm.
Took the second, the rest of the game off. That's where this guy filled in.
Mm-hmm.
Had like 50 yards rushing and a touchdown, decent.
All right.
And he's out for 4 weeks, so they got themselves a James Conner.
All right. Well, then, I mean, it certainly has paid off for teams that have done that so far. So, if it pays off for him, hopefully it happens the week after this one. As far as other contested bids, then we had the defensive bid, $5, outbidding the Hagglers, who bid $3 for the Vegas defense. Looking at all of the transactions, we have even more than usual at this point. So what was the day? It would have been
Justice Hill sighting down here near the bottom.
Of course, there's always a Justice Hill sighting. So We have to go all the way back to, my gosh, got to go back pretty far to. So Dolce, Van Jefferson, Oswald. All right, so here's the, Mercado. Roshan Johnson gets picked up by the Whalers for $16, uncontested. Logan Thomas goes to the finest for $13, uncontested. Curtis Samuel goes to Dave's Secret Crush for $7. The Vegas, well, we already talked about the Vegas defense. Ahmed then gets picked up out of the garbage. Now we're on the garbage can stuff. Deonta Foreman gets picked up by the Crush. Fairbairn and Baker Mayfield get picked up by the 1603ers. Derek Carr gets picked up by the by Clever Name Pending for Jimmy Garoppolo, so he gets dropped. And then, gosh, but now we have an extra day of a bunch of action. So Baltimore Downs, there's Justice Hill, of course, getting paid. Oh, Justice Hill, he goes to prime time. That's what Dr. Hockey's going to try to fill him up.
Mm-hmm.
All right, interesting. All right, Dalton Schultz goes to the Lions. Jordan Love, this must have been happening today. Wow, where's the love? He went down. Can't for the Kansas City defense. The Whalers pick up Javonte Williams. Tank Dell. He did some stuff at some points this season, but he's certainly fallen off a cliff there. Ahmed got dropped, but then picked back up. And then dropped. Whatever. Josh Palmer gets picked up by the Hagglers for 2-2. Russell Wilson gets picked up by Clever Name Pending. Jonnu Smith gets dropped for Keontae Ingram. McPherson gets picked up for Prater.
Well, that's what muddies the water with John Connor over there in Arizona. Is this Keontae Williams he missed 2 games with a neck injury, so he's slated to come back. Mm-hmm. So that $41 purchase by Manny puts him at a 50-50 share with this Keontae Ingram guy. Mm. So he doesn't necessarily have himself a James Conner, and they picked up somebody. Tony Jones Jr. from the New Orleans, who threw him in the dumpster because Kamara came back. They didn't need him. But there's actually 3 running backs over there.
Interesting.
So Manny paid for the one he thought was going to start. And then Gronky picked up the other one. And then subsequently, I think
his burner team picked up the other one. So him and his burner team were covering all bases.
Isn't that convenient? Yeah.
Josh Reynolds gets picked up by Tilla Trey. So that's what he's trying to fill with the wide receiver role. Los Angeles for Washington, Atlanta for Stafford. Young Ho goes to Zamunda for Carlson. Conklin. Minnesota defense gets picked up by Nick and Jamie, as well as Antonio Gibson. Dulcich, who was just picked up, gets dropped. Jordan Love look at that. So Whalers picked up Love. He's got some love on his team. There he goes. And now he's going to try to shop him. Now he's carrying 3 quarterbacks. Why is he trying? Look. If he can move Jordan Love, I will. Didn't he move? Wasn't there a trade? There was a trade, right? He moved Justin Fields, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where's that? And then the rest of the stuff, whatever. But there was a trade earlier this week. So the Whalers traded Justin Fields and Isaiah Pacheco to Gronky Kong, I believe, for Devonta Smith and Rashad White to the Whalers. So yeah, I guess now that he lost his Fields, he needs some love. Why? I mean, the guy's a joke at this point. Why are you it must be a joke at this point. I mean, is he doing that seriously? Because he's not going to play him. I mean, it's after a 4-point performance. Is he trying to sell? I mean, first of all, I don't think after all of the memes and the mockery that Love is movable at this point, because if anybody who takes Love in a trade is going to be mocked mercilessly.
Yeah.
Especially, I'm just saying, and then Hockey will go apoplectic. I mean, I almost want to take him just so that I could see Hockey go crazy for
right.
But yeah, I don't understand that. It's kind of funny. Anyway, yeah, let's take a look at the standings now. So South Florida primetime. at the top of the league. So we got 3 4-1 teams. Hockey is just, 766. Just so first of all, the interesting thing, if you look at these standings, so you have, he's up at top. He would be at the top no matter what. He's he's tied with the record, but 766 at the top. But then the two other 4-1 teams are both in the 500s. But then you look at the 3-2 teams, both of them are in the 600s. So both of the 3-2 teams have higher scores than both of the 4-1 teams. And then you go down to what?
Yeah, and you play one of the 4-1 teams, so you beat him.
Yeah, so that'll be this is that's a huge matchup for this week. And then as far as the 2-3 teams, we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 2-3 teams. So that's Lightning Rod's at the top of that, as far as, and the Hagglers are down at the bottom of that. With a differential of about 100. So we're early enough in the season where you can make up that differential, but the Hagglers are going to have to start winning some games and putting some points on the board. As far as the 1-4 teams, you were saying this last week, there's a huge difference between 2-3 and 1-4. I mean, and Eugene is down at the bottom, but not only that, he's 580 is one of the lowest point total in the league.
I mean, they play each other this week. I mean, so yeah, Nick plays Eugene. So this will be a battle for the basement.
Wow, yeah, exactly. And then 508 is the lowest in the league. By the way, just below the second lowest in the league, which is Hackettstown's Finest with 514, talking about the spiderweb. So all right. Excuse me. The third lowest, because the Hagglers have 513. So Hackettstown, both teams combined, have 2 and 3 in the lowest. Hackettstown is not scoring a lot of points this season on either the north side or the south side. All right. Which brings us to this week's games. Where shall we kick it off?
Well, let's see here. Let's roll with it. Let's go with Hackettstown's Finest versus the 1603s.
All right, let's take a look at that. All right. So now, as we said, this is a really big, important game at the top. Between
one of its 3 quarterbacks is in play, as you are touting out Baker Mayfield.
I'm sorry. What did you say?
He got 3 quarterbacks, man. He's using, and he's decided to go with Burrow this week.
Interesting.
Still cat rostering the other 2.
Purdy is there, and then
somebody's out of here.
All right, so he's only got 2 of the 3. We also are carrying 2 with Geno Smith against Cincinnati. We're not going to play him in that game, even though you'd be on the opposite side of that. I just, as far as Mayfield, I think that, look, I'm very heavy in that game. I have Mayfield, Godwin, and Evans. The first 3, we're going with the Nick and Jamie method. The first 3 players are all from that game. So, the Detroit games tend to be high scoring, so that's what I'm hoping for here. If that's a dud of a game, we're somewhat in trouble. We do have some other things as far as the lineup goes. We are certainly concerned about being spiderwebbed this week, and also, given the history of these 2 teams going back years, I mean, almost every time that I've played Manny, it's come down to a Monday night game. Even more so than this season has come down to Monday night games, but in the past, my games have come down to Monday nights solely with Manny. And we have Eckler going Monday night on his return, so we'll see if that happens again. As far as what else he has Kirks, Mumra going to play in that Detroit game, so 4 players in that Detroit game, that Detroit versus Tampa Bay game. That's going to be huge for this matchup. Oh, yes. And then he's got Swift going against the Jets, T. Mercado, as you said. Logan Thomas, who we just picked up, going against Atlanta, and he's finally playing Gabe Davis as he's playing the Giants. And he's rolling with the Miami defense. I certainly have a
week. Watch out for Logan Thomas. That's a sneaky play. Look at his numbers.
Logan Thomas was certainly good last week. Atlanta is a decent defense, but yeah, I mean, so he got 20 last week, but they are clearly they give it to Logan Thomas. That's a good move. Yeah. 8 and then 10. But yeah, and then Atlanta's second most given up to tight ends there. So that is a good move. I have to hand it to him there. The projection is 125.83 to 110.35, but I do look, he's been spiderwebbing it this year, and I certainly am concerned. You know, and a lot of my eggs are in one basket. My quarterback and wide receivers are all in that basket. Now we do have McCaffrey, but he has a tough match
against Cleveland, though. Cleveland has a decent.
I agree. This is what I'm saying. There's, you know, now Mostert has the backfield to himself, and he's going against Carolina. I think there is some points to be had there. We'll see what happens with Hawkinson against Chicago. I mean, there, you know, obviously that's a favorable matchup, and you know, with Jefferson gone, and you know, them playing Chicago, but we'll see. You know, and then my defense certainly look. You know, they're playing Houston. I don't think that they've been sacked once this year. So the defensive matchup certainly for me is not that good. And Miami has a very good matchup against Carolina. So there is certainly potential here for Manny to do well in this game, more so than is shown on paper.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if DeMarcado performs well.
Yeah, but that's
Logan
like
Thomas.
completely unknown variables in that backfield.
Yeah, I know. So you have that, and then you have, but between that and Thomas, I think both of them can outplay their projections, which means, you know, and it's only a 15-point difference right here. You know, look, I always pick my opponent, and I'm certainly not going to change that here. But there is certainly potential for this to be a game that goes his way. So.
Well, you know, I actually like his lineup. I'm gonna go with Friedman over here.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot. You're putting a lot of eggs in that Cleveland Detroit game.
Well, I mean, so we all
Dallas is going to be pissed.
What?
Dallas is going to be pissed. They're going to be looking for some revenge.
Yeah,
they're beating at the hands of the Niners. So Eckler, you know, they could have a tough game. I don't know how does Herbert get sacked a lot? Sometimes.
Herbert,
and then Mostert literally has the backfield to himself, so he should have a monster game. McCaffrey always gets his. I'm worried about that Detroit Browns game.
You mean the Detroit
Tampa Bay game? Because the Tampa Bay's defense is not, or Detroit's defense is okay, but it's always a shootout, like you said. But you better hope both of them get their
yeah,
number.
I mean, look, I mean, and Mike Evans came back from the hamstring thing. He seems to be fine. I mean, look, I have tough matchups with all of, you know, look, Michael Thomas is playing Houston. That's not a great matchup. And, you know, he only gets pedestrian numbers anyway. Nico Collins is playing New Orleans. That's a difficult matchup there. McLaurin against Atlanta. They really have shut down wide receivers this year. I mean, there's nobody to really put in. So, I mean, this is kind of what I'm rolling with right now. So, I don't know. But it certainly does leave an opening for Manny to take advantage of it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So yeah, we are both picking the absentee commissioner in this game.
Oh yeah,
he's
so dedicated.
What?
He's so dedicated.
I know.
Go right down the line. Let's go Hagler's till it try.
All right. So we'll take it away. The projection is 112.58 to 115.62, excuse me, in the opposite direction. 53% favorite for Tillotray against you. This is actually one of your higher and closer projections that we've seen all season long.
We're never over 100.
So
yeah, so right off so we have another player in that Tampa Bay game, the opposite quarterback, Goff, going up against Stroud. Stroud's been really I don't think he's throwing an interception.
I don't think he's been sacked or thrown. I mean, so no INTs.
Okay. Doesn't show sacks in here, but I think the thing was it's been 3 straight games since anybody sacked him.
Yeah.
Mistake 3 for the 5th time this season. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, he started out with 10 points, 25, 24, 25, and then 16. And you know, so yeah, he's been good. I mean, New Orleans is a tough defense though, but yeah.
Yeah, that'll really be a test for them.
Yeah.
Pittman, I think with the return of Jonathan Taylor, all of the receivers for the Colts may get a dip because they have Zach Moss too. They're trying to get him the ball.
And you have Minshew throwing it.
And Minshew, yeah. So Pittman, but he's gotten his numbers.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. I mean, is T. Higgins? I think he was out with an injury last week.
I don't know the story about T. Higgins, but I mean,
Yeah, I think he was out last week with an injury,
24-3.
but clearly it's the Jamar Chase show right now, so I'm hoping that momentum continues. Bijan's really cooled off. I mean, he was getting like, look at his numbers for a second. He was really racking them up early in the season. 2021, a little bit of a dip in 10, 18, and then come back down to earth with 11. And Washington's 20th against the run. They're not in the green. Williams with the Rams, Laporta.
Williams, he was also really good. He came down to earth last week again. Also, 17, 28, 8.5, 27, and then 7.7. But Arizona's good against the run. And Laporta was another really good pickup by Kimmel. So, and
that takes points away from Goff, so that's a smart play.
Yeah, and that takes points away from Goff, and that's another player. We're all going to be watching this game.
Yeah. And McPherson, and then San Francisco against Cleveland. If Cleveland doesn't get Watson back, San Francisco's going to clean up.
Yeah.
My problem is I've got 4 people in the London game. That's a lot of people.
Yeah,
if that one tanks, it's pretty much over before 1.
And the thing about the London games is that they're so unpredictable. Mm-hmm. And you got the defense going against your offensive players.
Yeah. Yep. So actually, I've been down 90-10 before the 4:00 games. To lose, this will be the first time. Or 1:00. The Hagglers can be projected 90-10 to lose before the 1:00 games. So we'll see if we can make history and get annihilated before the 1:00 kickoff. I mean, Kamara against Houston. Houston's defense is okay. Kittle, I mean, he's not going to get 3 catches for 3 touchdowns every week. And then the Osborne experiment. Finally, DK Metcalf cleared injury. I mean, I need him in there. And then, I don't know. It's just, I'm going to pick Tilletrey in this one only because it's dangerous to put 4 people in a London game.
I mean, it's dangerous or it could pay off. It's boom or bust, It's I'm trying to think of some British phrase, I
mean, that's a dangerous move.
Knock me up outside the whatever, I don't know. Chap, I'm gonna pick Tilletrey here too because yes, so many. It's just so I don't know what to think. Like it's so unpredictable in this game.
I think kickers do well in London. So Tucker may do something.
Oh my god, you even have the kicker in that game too. 1, 2, 3, 4 of your players.
4 out of 9 going in at 9:00 in the morning.
Or at 6:00 in the morning for me out here. Do you have the game at least?
Oh, what is it on ESPN?
The Ocho? I have no idea what it's on.
Well, Manny's. That's the thing. I'll be watching it. Manny's moving to Rhode Island. So we're supposed to hang out, but I don't know if I'm going to go up at 9:00 in the morning. That's a little bit early for a kickoff, but we'll see.
Better than going at 6 in the morning. So yeah. I'm gonna go with Tillett in this. I think it's a bounce back game from, but with the provision that if the London game goes in the opposite direction, I mean, it all comes down to that game. They're sloppy messes. Nobody knows what. So I don't know. It could very well go either way. But I mean, I think if you just look at the standard lineup, which is what Tillett is right now.
I mean, Tennessee in London makes most people go ew. Ew. That's disgusting.
But then that helps your defense there. So it'll be interesting. But there's so much locked up in that game. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm picking Tillett because of that. And then because also he has Laporte going, taking points away from your quarterback. I'm just gonna go Tillett this game.
Good move.
All right. Moving along. Are we going? No, we can't go down. Oh my god, are we gonna really save that game for last? All right. We'll just vomit that out at the end. All right. Lightning rods versus Gronky Kong. So projection here is 114.17 to 126.36. Gronky Kong a 60% favorite. He's going with his new shiny quarterback, Justin Fields, and he's going with we have a live projection versus whatever because we are filming after the Thursday game. So Pacheco goes with 15.8 points. So he's holding at this point. I don't think he has to suffer from the Thursday night curse because it's not like it's just he basically just slightly outperformed his projection. Devontae Adams going against New England. I think that is a good matchup there. Justin Fields against Minnesota is a good matchup. We talked about CeeDee Lamb before, but the Chargers are pretty weak too, and Dallas is going to want to play. That's a good matchup. You got David Montgomery against in that Tampa Bay game. I don't know about Conklin, but you have Cup on top of that. Gronky Kong's looking good in this game. On the other side, you have Herbert going against Dallas, Olave at Houston, which is another tough matchup. DJ Moore, so at least the quarterback for Gronky Kong will be throwing a lot so that maybe that'll offset some of that right there. In Minnesota, Kenneth Walker Jr. The third at Cincinnati, and Jonathan Taylor. Is this the game where because you had the one game where he just put the pads back on for the first time? Is this going to be the first time that's like a real game? We'll see. I mean, because he's gonna start to come. Although he wasn't really that good at the end of last season, so I don't know. Pitts finally had a good game last week. Is he gonna have another one? Keenan Allen going against Dallas on Monday night. The Jets were. I think I'm going with Gronky Kong in this game. I think that he has a lot of really good weapons right there, and a lot of good. I think this is a good week for him with good matchups.
I mean, certainly Lightning Rods has players that can match up. I think that whole entire New Orleans offense is going to take a dip once Kamara came back. I mean, Olave's numbers, let's click on him for a minute. I think he has basically started to dive down. Oh, yeah. So Kamara was suspended for the first 3 weeks of the season, right? So you see Olave's numbers there. And on the whole, second he's come back, you notice the difference?
Yeah,
so,
1-9. So yeah.
So yeah, I mean, based on that should neutralize him. Is DJ Moore going to have 49 points every week? He will take points away from Fields,
right?
So that helps. I mean, all those numbers were all DJ Moore last week. Walker, Texas Ranger, he's okay. Taylor's got a problem because he's splitting time with Moss. I mean, the Colts want to put him back in there as the feature back, but Moss has been doing amazing. He had 33 points last week. It's hard to keep him on the sideline. Like you said, Pitts, Allen. I'm gonna favor the Lightning Rod. Not Lightning Rod. I'm gonna favor Gronky Kong right now. Fields is an upgraded quarterback that he needed, and with those 3 superstar wide receivers, I mean, assuming Lamb has a good game, I mean that's what's going to carry his team. The tight end is hot garbage with Conklin, and then Pacheco. I mean, his problem was running back, and his first running back got better than projected. Montgomery he's been blowing it up with 30 points and then 20 points. I mean, he's really come on lately. But again, playing 2 greens, now he gets a tougher stretch. I think he's got it though. I'm going to take Gronky Kong.
And he's also don't forget about the fact that he's got the Vegas defense going against New England. It was pretty terrible too. So
Yeah. Yep.
I'm gonna go with Gronky Kong in this game. All right, moving on down the line. Nick and Jamie versus Prime Time. All right, so we have the an original projection and a live projection. So original was 112.72 to 123.08. For hockey, it is dipped slightly below that with 121.97. And for Nick and Jamie, it has risen to 118.51. It is a 47-53 game projected in favor of primetime. Mahomes only gets 19.34 points, and the Kansas City defense gets 14. For Nick and Jamie, 21.4 for Kelsey, and Tony gets 9.4. So Kelsey outperforms his quarterback. I don't know. Interesting. So you still
Chardonnay is going to be a problem.
Yeah, I mean,
he could dip into free agency.
I mean, Jamar
probably, but not going to be much better.
I mean, look, if Jamar Chase has another great game, I mean, that could keep pace with Hill. You have AJ Brown going against Marquise Brown. Is that who it is? I don't know. There's so many Browns. What can Brown do for you? And he's got a Q.
Hey.
Brown
has done great.
Yeah. So I think that the wide receivers can keep pace with each other. Tua can actually, and here's the thing: he's got Tua, but he's throwing a Tyreek Hill, so there's some points can be taken away from there. Jacobs versus Charbonnet, and then Gibson versus Justice Hill. So each of them has a good running back. Each of them has not so good. He's got Chardonnay and then going against the Hill. Kelsey, obviously, versus Komet. Komet has been great the last few weeks, but, Kelsey got his numbers, and Thielen really is actually going, he's been fantastic. He's going against Miami. His kicker's been pretty good, too. I am going to go with Dr. Hockey in this game. I mean, how could you not after his performance the last few weeks? But I think that it could be a lot closer than we think. But I will say that the weakness is Charbonnet right there. I mean, I don't think that he's really done much of anything this season.
Literally done nothing.
Right. And so that's going to really make a difference. But I mean, they're making a game of it. It's really a lot closer than one would have thought with this matchup. But I am going with Hockey.
I'm going with Hockey too. But so what's our bench prospects for Nick and Jamie
to do better? First of all, they have 2 empty bench spots.
Oh my God, never seen it. They literally have nothing.
They move. Well, I mean, I guess they moved 2 people over to IR, or 3 people on IR. They have 2 empty bench spots, but there's just garbage there. Kirk Cousins. Why are they not playing Cousins? Although, because they're playing Tua. I mean, I say this all the time. I don't understand. I can't say anything. I don't understand the carrying of 2 quarterbacks. I say this as I have 2 quarterbacks, but it's only, whatever. I don't know. I have 2 quarterbacks because I'm streaming one quarterback and my other quarterback sucks. But everybody else is hoarding quarterbacks, so I gotta hold on to the one guy. So I don't know. But yeah, I'm going. No, I mean nothing. And then obviously you have A-Chain. I don't know why. Does Hockey not know how to use the IR spot here? Because you might want to put him over there. All right.
And then you've got the opposite running backs playing each other. Sanders is out for Carolina. Surely Chuba Hubbard would be a better spot than the league whore, Justice Hill, who he picked up out of the garbage can. So the starting running back for Carolina is toast.
Likely to lead the backfield. I mean, all right, fine. I don't know.
There's opportunity to be had there, so I'm not sure if I would take the league whore. I mean, he did
in London.
In London.
I mean, look, obviously, yeah, it's 12 with a touchdown, but the only times he ever gets any points are with a touchdown, and they give him the ball on the goal line. So, I mean, that's really what you're relying on for him. I mean,
I just think that Hubbard has the better opportunity. But so then you're playing 2. He's already playing Thielen.
Yeah, he's playing Thielen. You really want to be Carolina heavy? I don't know. I'm still going with primetime, but I wouldn't blame you. I mean, if Justice Hill, doesn't do well, I mean, that opens up the opportunity.
All right. Good enough.
So, but what are you going with?
Hockey, of course.
All right. Moving on down the line. Let's go down to Clever Name Pending versus the Detroit Whalers. Well, so the original.
So lucky because Russell Wilson had negative 0.34 at the half.
Yeah, but I mean, with these terrible teams that I said this week before, you can't judge it based on what happens at the half. But then again, he only ended up with 8.9. All right, so he has been struggling with quarterback so far. So 121.99 to 107 was the original projection. Not much has changed after the first game. 121.99 to 107.60, a tiny bit above, which has been made up by Butker, well outperforming his numbers. Yeah, the current score is 27.1. Well, nothing, but yeah, I mean, so you got Wilson is already gone. Hurts at the Jets. Hurts has been fine. Maybe you should play some Love. Oh, he's on a bye. Never mind. So you got Stephon Diggs versus the Giants. That's a good matchup there. And Ayuk against Cleveland. They got a tough defense. You got Ridley. So you got Ayuk against Samuel against Debo. That's an interesting matchup right there. Ridley versus Diggs. And Ridley going against the terrible Indianapolis defense. Good wide receiver matchup here. You got Breece Hall, who's he's been pretty good. Going against Mixon. What has Mixon been doing? I don't really know anything about that. All right, he's been solid other than 1 week, basically. And And you got Cam Akers, not very good going against Etienne, who just went off last week. But
what is the move? You already have Madison. What was the point of bringing Cam Akers into Minnesota? So he can get 3 points for you every week?
yeah, I don't understand. Zach Ertz, I wonder if his numbers pick up with Connor out going against Ingram, who his numbers last week were not that good, but who knows? I think there's an opportunity for him in this game. And you got Puka going against Devonta Smith.
Devonta Smith, who Whalers traded for, an interesting trade.
Yeah, I don't know what I mean. So he's going for two firsts, I guess, from Hurts to Smith. And then
Anybody
Buffalo and the Rams.
Big numbers.
What?
Anybody playing the Giants is going to be big numbers.
I know, and he's got Diggs going against the Giants, though. So I mean, like, I feel like this game is closer than the projection is saying. I mean, Ridley really. I mean, but what is it? I mean, this game is closer than I think. What?
Diggs has been phenomenal. Stephon Diggs has put up really good numbers.
I mean, so what's Ayuk versus Debo been? Let's see. I mean, this is a close game. I mean, like, I think Akers is really the weakest link here.
Big time.
I'm going to go with Whalers, but I think Clever Name Pending makes a game out of it.
And he win 3 in a row?
I mean, it would be 3 in a row each time, the underdog. I mean, he could do it, but I just don't. I think that RB2 position. Does he have anything on the bench? No, he doesn't have a second running back. Najee is on a bye, so not that yeah, I'm gonna go with Whalers in this, but it's gonna be closer than one would think.
I'm going Whalers too, but
I mean, Diggs and Puka. I mean, that's a good combo. I mean, this team is. I mean, we've made fun of him for a while, but he's actually not a terrible team. I mean,
I'm gonna go Whalers, but he should be worried.
Yeah, he's gonna have to watch the game. He can't just. It's not gonna be just skating through. All right, which brings us to the last game and the last place. I mean, this ends up being quite important and quite exciting. As one of these teams
somebody's going to be 1-5.
Right. We got a 50-50 on this one. 111.94 to 111.69. Who wants it less? All right. So you got Josh Allen going against the Giants versus Lamar versus Tennessee in London. I think you gotta go with Josh Allen in this one. I mean, come on. Garrett Wilson and Zay Flowers. Oh, he's Baltimore heavy as well. He's invested on the other half of that London game, so his season could be done before the 1:00 game. And you got Waddle and Tyler Boyd. So Waddle got a little bit when he came back, but Carolina's kind of a tough defense.
Why are we playing Tyler Boyd for Nick? A bye?
What?
Somebody on a bye for him?
Everybody? Pickens.
Oh, Pickens.
I mean, he's got Claypool. I don't know, but you don't want to go both ways. Yeah, I mean, okay. So then you got Pollard, and is Barkley coming back? He's listed as questionable. That could make a big difference, and he's truly questionable for a second straight week. That'll make a huge difference if Barkley is playing or not. If he doesn't play, you're going with Dalvin, and that is so. I mean, on the other side, you have Madison, who's just getting enough numbers going against Ramondre, which means if Barkley goes out and you're filling in with Dalvin, so it's Dalvin versus Ramondre. That's a stinker at RB2 for both teams.
That's befitting of these two teams' records.
I know. Andrews against Schultz. Has Schultz done anything this season? Yeah, he has. He's actually had a good couple games the last couple weeks. Mark Andrews has been fine. And he's got Addison. He is playing Addison and Madison.
I know.
This is the right time to play him, to see if he's going to get any points. You've got Jameson Williams. Okay. Elliott, the kicker, who's been really good for him. Nick just picked up Young Ho. Detroit against Tampa Bay, so he thinks he's going against my team right there, most of my team, and Atlanta versus Washington. Ooh. I mean, I think clearly a lot of this comes down to Saquon. If Saquon plays, I think Nick does have an opportunity to to win. I mean, because you got to figure this projection that they're giving him, by the way, is with Saquon in there. You take him out. I don't put that much stock in projections. I think I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go with Eugene. I think that he can win this game, though. I will say that the Allen versus Jackson matchup, because I think Lamar. I mean, I don't know. It's very tough on those London games. I don't know. He's so heavy in that game. Also, Jackson, Zay Flowers, and then Mark Andrews.
Well, at the risk of having to write an apology, I'm going to go with Nick. And actually, he should be apologizing to me for quitting the semifinal game.
So it can be mutual. It's offsetting fouls if
offsetting papers we have to write.
Yeah. No, I'm going to go with him. But obviously it could go either way. I mean, yeah, this is a game, by the way, that you literally cannot pick an upset in, because both of them are even on projections.
Mm-hmm. Somebody will be very upset when they lose.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know. All right. Well, we got through this week. So, where are we going? Who are you going with for the lock of the week? This is tough for a lock of the week because I think a lot of these games are quite competitive. I think I might have to go with Gronky Kong against the Lightning Rods for my lock of the week, which just shows you how competitive this week is.
Yeah, every game is really wow.
Yeah.
Lock of the week. Unfortunately, I have to say, lock of the week is Tillotray over me. I just 9 times out of 10, the London games just don't work out, and nobody has 4 people playing in London.
There's some that have 3 though.
That's gonna be bad.
Wow.
That game could be over before 1 o'clock.
And who has the upset of the week for you?
The upset of the week, I'm going to go with...
I think Friedman over me is the natural choice right there, because you picked him to beat me.
Yeah, okay. Upset of the week, Manny Friedman over Dave.
I think I'm going to go with that as well. Yeah. All right. I don't really have anything else. Well, we survived this week. Hopefully it's not even that. I don't even think it's that long a show. Maybe it was. I don't know. We'll see afterwards. Anyway, sorry for the delay this week. A lot of exciting stuff happening in the center. The hockey league starts up. We have a Watson Bowl this week between the two of us on Tuesday. Obviously fantasy football continuing to go on, and I don't know. Is there something else? I mean, the Center Bowl, and we have a Center Bowl site announced. Well, why don't we save that for next week? We'll save the official announcement for next week. 25th Center Bowl. 25 years we've been doing this already. So those in the know where it's going to be. The rest of you most likely are not going to go, but it would be nice to see all of you there, as it's the 25th anniversary of this. We've been doing this for 25 years. You guys should take the time to come out and see us in person. Smell us. It's been a while since you've smelled us. All right. Until then.
All right. Peace out.